Consciousness wasn't a gift, it was a malfunction. A biological accident wrapped in the illusion of meaning. You weren't supposed to think. You weren't supposed to question. You weren't supposed to wake up every morning dragging the weight of a mind that refuses to shut up. It gave you awareness before you had the capacity to survive what awareness actually demands. You weren't built to think this deeply, to question your own existence. You weren't built to wake up every day fighting with a mind that refuses to rest. You were designed for a simple cycle: survive, reproduce, repeat. No reflection, no doubt, no internal storm. But evolution pushed too far. It created a brain that could observe itself, and that was the beginning of the collapse. From that moment on, humans were sentenced to a lifetime of analyzing, worrying, regretting, imagining, fearing, and breaking under the weight of their own thoughts. You never asked for this. You inherited a mind that thinks too much for a world that gives too little. People worship consciousness like it's humanity's greatest achievement. But look closer. Do you see achievement, or do you see a species drowning under the pressure of its own awareness? A world full of anxiety, self-doubt, overthinking, emptiness, insecurity, confusion, disconnection, and silent despair. What kind of triumph makes people hate themselves? What kind of gift makes you afraid of your own mind? Other creatures wake up, move, survive, rest. Humans wake up and fall straight into panic, comparison, existential fear, self-hatred, doubt, overanalysis, replayed memories, imagined futures, and if they're lucky, sleep again. This isn't an upgrade. This is the side effect of a brain that evolved past what survival required. Awareness didn't just let humans feel pain, it forced them to understand it, anticipate it, replay it, stretch it, and attach meaning to it. A single moment becomes a memory becomes a wound becomes a story you drag with you for years. A lion feels fear for seconds, you carry it for decades. A bird escapes danger, you carry danger in your head even when reality is calm. You don't suffer because life is cruel, you suffer because your mind keeps inventing new ways to tear you apart. Endless simulations, endless possibilities, endless noise. Your consciousness became a warden, and your thoughts became a cell you never leave. People say life gets harder as you age. They're wrong. Life doesn't get harder. Your awareness does. You understand more. You notice more. Your illusions fall apart. The lies that sheltered you as a child fade, and suddenly the truth appears. You're temporary, replaceable, forgettable, and the universe will continue without you. No other species bears that weight. Only humans. That's the error in evolution. It created a creature that knows too much to be peaceful and too little to be free. Consciousness didn't create wisdom, it created fear. It shaped a species that panics at silence, overthinks at rest, suffers in comfort, and breaks under its own expectations. Humans built civilizations not out of strength, but out of terror. Terror of nature, terror of death, terror of not knowing, terror of the empty space inside their own skulls. Awareness transformed fear into belief systems, confusion into philosophy, emptiness into desire, loneliness into dependence, and boredom into destruction. Most human achievements are just creative attempts to escape the mind. And still people suffer. You feel exhausted without effort, disconnected without reason, empty in moments that should feel full, fearful when nothing threatens you, broken even when nothing touched you. The enemy isn't around you, it's inside you. You can leave places, you can avoid people, you can change circumstances, but you can't outrun your own thoughts. Your consciousness follows everywhere, whispering doubts and fears, turning small uncertainties into storms. Not because the world is unsafe, but because your mind is always waiting for something to go wrong. No other species carries that kind of internal noise, and the painful part is you believe the voice inside your head more than anything outside it. Consciousness was a mistake because it gave you awareness of things you were never meant to understand. Your own fragility, your own insignificance, your own temporary existence, your own limitations, your own loneliness. Your ancestors hid from predators, you hide from your thoughts. Which is more terrifying? One kills you once, the other kills you a little every day. You weren't prepared for a mind that constantly questions the point of being alive. Evolution never gave humans a manual for handling this level of awareness. It simply activated consciousness and left you to deal with the fallout. Humanity has been improvising ever since. Now you cling to things that distract you from your mind: goals, love, validation, money, noise, stimulation, temporary pleasure, endless scrolling, imagined futures, fragile hopes. Not because they mean much, but because without them, the mind becomes unbearable. Silence exposes the truth you spend your whole life avoiding. You are temporary, everyone you love is temporary, everything you build will fade, nothing you create will matter forever, the universe will forget you existed, and your mind is painfully alert to all of it. Humans experience loneliness even in a crowd, emptiness in moments of joy, fear in moments of calm, hopelessness in moments that look perfect from the outside. That's consciousness, a system too advanced for the creature that carries it. You weren't supposed to feel this much. You weren't supposed to think this deeply. You weren't supposed to be aware of your own impermanence. Yet here you are, thinking, remembering, fearing, analyzing, drowning in the quiet pressure of your own awareness. This is what it means to be human. You think you understand suffering, but you don't. You've only scratched the surface of what consciousness can do to a human mind. The real damage doesn't happen in the loud moments. It happens in the quiet ones, silently, subtly, deep in the places you never examine. Consciousness didn't just make you aware, it made you hyper-aware, constantly alert, constantly analyzing, constantly scanning every detail of your life as if you're in danger all the time. And the worst part is that there isn't any real danger, not outside. The danger is inside your own head. You don't fear the world, you fear your thoughts. That's the real trap. Your body evolved to survive predators, your mind evolved to survive itself, and it failed. That's why people break under pressure, why they collapse, why they drown themselves in distractions, substances, relationships, illusions, because the human mind wasn't built to carry this level of awareness. Awareness is a weight, it's responsibility, it's a burden you never signed up for. The moment consciousness appeared, fragility followed. Not physical fragility, but mental and emotional fragility. You became aware that everything could be lost, and that awareness alone is enough to destroy a person. Animals feel fear when danger appears. Humans feel fear because their imagination creates danger. Humans fear things that aren't real, things that won't happen, things that never existed. You suffer from futures you invented, from versions of yourself you've never been, from pasts that no longer exist but still control you. It's not the world crushing you, it's your consciousness refusing to let anything go. Your mind replays everything, mistakes, conversations, failures, regrets, dead moments, lost opportunities. You carry memories long after they should have faded. You carry them even when they serve no purpose except to hurt you. Your consciousness is a projector that never switches off. It forces you to watch your own pain again and again. That's not an upgrade. That's not evolution's success. That's evolution's malfunction. Every species experiences pain. Only humans experience pain in anticipation, pain in imagination, pain in memory, pain in what-ifs. The suffering isn't just physical, it's psychological, emotional, existential. That's the curse. That's why consciousness was the real mistake. You inherited a mind that attacks you at random at 2 a.m. when you're lying awake, in the shower when you're alone, when it's quiet, when you finally have a second to breathe. That's when consciousness hits the hardest. It whispers doubts, insecurities, fears, regrets, insults, things you would never say to someone else, yet you say them to yourself effortlessly. No other species does this, only humans. And the cruel part is that you believe every word your mind throws at you. This is why consciousness is a mistake. It makes you aware of everything you were never built to handle: time, death, loss, change, meaninglessness, uncertainty. You understand the fragility of your own existence. You understand the temporary nature of everyone you love. You understand the universe doesn't care you exist, and you have to live with that knowledge every day. Your ancestors fought predators, you fight thoughts, and thoughts are far more dangerous. A predator kills you once, your mind kills you every day. You weren't built for this. Evolution never designed the human brain for deep reflection or existential thought. It didn't prepare you for self-awareness. It didn't create emotional tools to handle the truth. It just gave you consciousness and hoped it wouldn't destroy you. It did. Now you're here, a conscious creature in a meaningless universe, inventing purpose from whatever scraps you can find. Money, status, love, validation, distraction, ambition, addiction. Everything is just an attempt to silence the noise inside you. Because without distraction, your consciousness overwhelms you. Your mind keeps reminding you that you're temporary, you're forgettable, you're dying. Nothing you do matters in the long run. You're the only species that can feel lonely in a crowd, empty in success, hopeless in comfort, lost without losing anything. That's consciousness. A curse pretending to be intelligence, a burden pretending to be identity, a glitch pretending to be evolution. You weren't supposed to think this deeply, no mind should, but you do, and thinking is where the suffering grows. People tell you to think positively as if the problem is the thought. The problem isn't the thought, the problem is the ability to think at all. Consciousness turns your brain into a torture device. It invented identity, then insecurity. It invented comparison, then misery. It invented dreams, then despair. It invented love, then heartbreak. Every beautiful thing you feel comes paired with a darker opposite. The brighter the emotion, the darker the shadow under it. You can't love without fearing loss. You can't dream without fearing failure. You can't live without fearing death. Your consciousness gave you everything and then made you afraid of losing all of it. That's the paradox. You're scared to die but exhausted from living. You're scared of loneliness but scared of closeness. You want connection but feel unworthy of it. You want peace, but your mind is addicted to chaos. You want meaning, but consciousness keeps showing you that nothing has any. Humans weren't designed to be happy, they were designed to survive. Consciousness made survival miserable. That's why you chase distraction, not for entertainment, but because the silence is too loud. The present moment is unbearable because that's where consciousness is strongest. The present is where all illusions fall apart, where you see clearly that you have no control, no guarantee, no meaning, no escape. That's why humans avoid the present. The present hurts, the present reveals the truth. You weren't supposed to carry all this. You weren't supposed to understand life or your place in it. You weren't supposed to know you're dying. You weren't supposed to know the universe is indifferent. You weren't supposed to be this aware. Awareness is the disease. Awareness is the downfall. Consciousness wasn't evolution's triumph, it was evolution's failure, and you're living inside the consequences. And this isn't even the bottom. You probably wondered why life feels heavier the older you get, why things that used to feel simple now drain you, why every year adds a new layer of confusion, pressure, and emotional weight. It's not because adulthood is harder or because responsibilities increase. The reason is much darker. Your consciousness keeps expanding, but your ability to handle it doesn't. Your awareness grows, but your emotional capacity stays the same. You see more, feel more, notice more, understand more, but you don't become stronger. Your consciousness upgrades, but your brain stays outdated. That mismatch is what breaks you. Humans weren't designed to process this much complexity. Your biology still thinks you're a primitive organism trying to survive the day. Meanwhile, your consciousness is forcing you to grapple with abstract ideas like purpose, identity, mortality, expectations, meaning, and the terrifying uncertainty of the future. Evolution gave you awareness without giving you stability. It handed you a mind that can observe everything but withstand almost nothing. Look at people around you. They aren't thriving, they're coping. Everyone is functioning on distractions, routines, addictions, and illusions. Society isn't built to give meaning, it's built to keep the human mind too busy to collapse. People don't wake up excited to be alive, they wake up to silence the thoughts waiting for them. You check your phone before you even check in with yourself. You scroll before you feel. You distract yourself before your consciousness has a chance to attack. This isn't weakness, it's the only way most people survive their own mind. Silence scares people, not because silence is dangerous, but because silence exposes you to your real mental state. The moment everything goes quiet, your consciousness takes over. It throws everything at you: doubts, fears, regrets, memories, insecurities. Your thoughts become louder than reality. That's why boredom feels painful, why being alone feels threatening, why doing nothing feels like drowning. It's not the emptiness that hurts, it's the awareness that surfaces inside it. Your problems were never external, they were never about money, relationships, opportunities, or validation. Those are just symptoms. The real problem is the mind that won't stop analyzing your life from every angle, the voice that never turns off, the constant comparison, the endless self-judgment, the regret, the fear, the anticipation of pain, the memories you can't erase, the emotions you can't control. You don't choose your thoughts, they appear on their own. You don't choose your fears, your brain creates them. You don't choose your triggers, they activate automatically. You don't choose your insecurities, consciousness downloads them into you. This is why consciousness feels like something separate from you, because it is. It operates like an entity inside your head. It fires thoughts, emotions, fears, and memories without your permission. You experience everything, but you control almost nothing. That doesn't feel like intelligence, it feels like possession, like something else is pulling the strings and you're just the witness. People glorify consciousness as if it's humanity's greatest feature, but they ignore how destructive it is. Consciousness didn't elevate humans, it enslaved them. It made you aware of problems you can't fix, truths you can't handle, and outcomes you can't escape. You know death is coming, but you don't know when. You know life has no guaranteed meaning, but you keep searching anyway. You know love can destroy you, but you crave it. You know ambition can ruin your peace, but you chase it. You know time is running out, but you don't know what to do with it. This isn't clarity, it's torment. The more you understand life, the less livable it becomes. The more you observe reality, the more unbearable it feels. Understanding doesn't free you, it erodes you. It strips away the illusions that once made life tolerable. Children are happier because their consciousness is too undeveloped to reveal the truth. As you grow older, awareness expands and illusions die. And when illusions die, reality becomes sharper, and reality is brutal. You start seeing through everything. People's smiles look forced, their confidence looks fragile, their relationships look like negotiations, their ambitions look like desperation, their goals look like attempts at outrun emptiness. You start seeing the cracks in everything, including yourself. Life stops being something you participate in and becomes something you dissect. Once you start analyzing life, you lose the ability to just live it. That's the real breaking point. You lose innocence, you lose simplicity, you lose the ability to feel without overthinking, you lose the ability to exist without questioning, you lose the ability to trust anything fully. Emotions stop being pure. Joy comes with anxiety, love comes with fear, success comes with pressure, peace comes with the dread of losing it. Consciousness turns every positive feeling into a fragile, temporary state. This is why humans are exhausted even when nothing is wrong, why you can wake up feeling empty for no reason, why you can break down during good times, why you can feel lonely even around people, why you can achieve your goals and still feel nothing. Consciousness separated emotional suffering from external events. You don't need tragedy to break, you just need a mind. Humans are the only species that can be mentally destroyed without anything happening externally. Depression, anxiety, meaninglessness, existential dread, these aren't caused by the world, they're caused by awareness. And once you reach a certain level of awareness, life stops feeling like life and starts feeling like a problem you can't solve. You weren't designed for this level of thinking. Evolution never intended for humans to reflect on existence, question purpose, or analyze their identity. Consciousness emerged by accident, and the human species has been falling apart under it ever since. You inherited a brain that imagines infinity but panics at reality, a mind that can simulate entire lives but can't handle its own emotions, a system that can detect meaninglessness but can't function without meaning. That's why you suffer, because the mind you're born with is incompatible with the awareness you develop. The real collapse doesn't happen when life becomes overwhelming, it happens when consciousness does, when your own mind becomes too heavy to carry, when the awareness becomes too sharp, too constant, too intrusive. This is the point where people break, not because of circumstances, but because their own consciousness becomes unlivable. And the terrifying part is, we're still not at the darkest level yet. There's a point where your life stops feeling like something you're participating in and starts feeling like something you're just enduring. You don't announce it, you don't break down in front of anyone, the shift is silent. You just realize one day that the person you've been pretending to be no longer exists. You start seeing yourself clearly in the images and flattering. The habits you've justified, the insecurities you protected, the lies you've repeated, everything becomes harder to ignore. You can't hide behind excuses anymore because your mind keeps pointing at the truth no matter how much you try to look away. This is where consciousness becomes a curse. It strips you down to the parts you avoided. It shows you why you act the way you do. It shows you the real cost of every decision you made out of fear. You look back at old friendships and realize you tolerated things you should have walked away from because you didn't want to be alone. You stayed in situations that drained you because choosing yourself felt selfish. You kept quiet when you should have spoken because conflict scared you more than disrespect. You've outgrown your past, but your past is still sitting inside you, rotting. The collapse happens when you accept that you wasted years trying to be someone that wasn't even you. You molded yourself to fit in, you lowered your standards to be accepted, you forced confidence you didn't feel, you swallowed pain because you didn't want to seem weak. People around you didn't notice, they never do. Everyone is too busy trying to keep their own life from falling apart. You begin to see a side of humanity most people ignore, not the inspirational version, the real one. A friend tells you they're fine, but you can see they're breaking. Their smile looks like a performance, their eyes look exhausted, their voice sounds forced. They talk about their goals like they're reading from a script they don't even believe in anymore. Someone you know thrives on praise because underneath the confidence is a terrified child who never felt enough. Someone else overworks themselves because the moment they stop, their thoughts become unbearable. Someone chases relationship after relationship because they don't know who they are without someone validating them. Someone pretends to be emotionless because opening up once destroyed them. These aren't problems, these are survival mechanisms. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. And that's when life begins to feel heavier, not because the world changed, but because your awareness did. You start catching yourself doing the same things, forcing laughter because that's easier than explaining how hollow you feel, acting calm when your mind is restless, pretending to be okay because you don't want to burden anyone, telling yourself you're strong because admitting you're tired feels like failure. You become hyper-aware of how disconnected you really are. Daily routines lose their meaning. The things that once excited you barely move you now. Conversations feel empty. People feel distant even when they're physically close. Your own life feels like something happening to a stranger. This isn't depression, it's consciousness becoming too sharp. The more you understand yourself, the more uncomfortable the truth becomes. You begin to notice how much of your identity was built on fear, how your personality grew around avoiding pain, how your choices came from insecurity rather than desire, how you've been surviving instead of living. This stage breaks you because it removes every illusion you depended on. Relationships you thought were real now look one-sided. Goals you chased now seem meaningless. Dreams you held close now feel disconnected from who you actually are. People you admired now look like they're as lost as everyone else. You realize the world isn't stable, people aren't stable, you aren't stable, and the weight of that truth sits in your chest like a stone. The collapse deepens when you start questioning why you even do the things you do. You go to work because you need money, but you feel nothing when you earn it. You socialize because you think you should, but you leave feeling more drained than before. You chase comfort, but comfort doesn't fix the emptiness inside. You distract yourself, but the distraction wears off and the thoughts return. There's no escape from a mind that follows you everywhere. You start to understand why so many people fake happiness, not because they're liars, but because the alternative is admitting they feel lost, admitting life didn't turn out the way they expected, admitting they don't know what they're doing, admitting they're scared, admitting they're tired of pretending. The collapse isn't about losing everything, it's about losing the ability to lie to yourself. And once that ability dies, you see the world without filters. Relationships become magnified. You notice when someone's affection is conditional. You notice when someone is using you. You notice when someone only comes around when they need something. You notice who actually cares and who just wants access to you. Success becomes questionable. You realize you weren't aiming for what you wanted. You were aiming for what you thought would make you feel worthy. The promotions, the achievements, the recognition, none of it fills the emptiness. None of it fixes the cracks. It's all a distraction from the fact that you don't feel enough inside. Even your own personality feels unfamiliar. You catch yourself acting out of habit instead of intention. You repeat patterns that hurt you because breaking them means facing the truth. You feel numb not because you don't care, but because caring takes energy you no longer have. You notice how fragile the mind really is. One bad memory can ruin a day. One mistake can haunt you for years. One sentence can destroy your confidence. One moment can change the direction of your entire life. You start to realize that humans weren't built for this much thinking. Your brain wasn't designed to unpack meaning. Your emotions weren't designed to carry this much weight. Your consciousness wasn't designed to understand its own existence. Evolution gave you awareness but didn't give you the tools to handle it. And that's the core of the collapse. You're carrying a level of awareness your biology was never prepared for. This is why life feels heavier the older you get. Not because life gets harder, but because consciousness becomes sharper. Every truth becomes clearer. Every illusion becomes weaker. Every emotion hits harder. You reach a point where you're too aware to be naive and too conscious to be comfortable. And the worst part is there's no going back. The moment you see the truth, you can never unsee it. Your mind doesn't forget. Your awareness doesn't shrink. Your perception doesn't soften. There comes a point where you stop waiting for life to make sense, not because you've grown wise, but because you've exhausted every illusion you once relied on. You begin accepting something you avoided your entire life. You weren't born with a purpose, you were born, and that's where the story started. Everything else was a story someone else told you. Consciousness forces this realization. All the comforting narratives from childhood collapse. Good things happen to good people. Everything works out in the end. Life rewards effort. None of it stands a chance against reality. The world doesn't operate on fairness, it operates on randomness. And once you see that, your expectations stop existing. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you've seen too clearly what life actually is. You stop expecting support from others because most people barely understand themselves. You stop expecting happiness to appear just because you're tired. You stop expecting closure from situations that were never meant to heal you. You stop expecting life to improve simply because you've suffered long enough. It doesn't work that way, and consciousness makes sure you never forget that. You start examining yourself with a level of honesty most people avoid. You look at your identity and notice how much of it wasn't chosen by you. Your personality was shaped by pressure and survival. Your beliefs were inherited, not explored. Your fears came from wounds that were never treated. Your insecurities are echoes of moments you don't even remember clearly. This is where things become unsettling. You struggle to recognize who you actually are beneath all those layers, and you realize you've been trying to understand a mind that was never designed to be understood. The search for meaning becomes exhausting. You've spent years trying to decode your purpose, hoping that clarity would arrive someday. But consciousness doesn't offer clarity, it offers questions you'll never fully answer. You look for meaning because living without it feels unbearable, but the mind keeps pointing to the possibility that meaning might not exist at all. That realization doesn't free you, it drains you.
you confront a level of emptiness most people spend their lives running from.
People cope with it in different ways. Some throw themselves into relationships because affection distracts them from the void. Some bury themselves in work because business keeps the mind too occupied to collapse. Some cling to religion or spirituality because it gives them a script to follow. Others drown themselves in entertainment because silence reveals too much. It's not weakness, it's survival. The void is too large for most people to face directly. Eventually, you become aware of how temporary everything is, not in an inspirational way, but in a brutally honest way. Dreams fade, relationships shift or end, feelings change, the things you once cared about lose their power, the people you swear you'll never forget slowly fade from your life one situation at a time, and you start realizing how much of life is built on things that don't last. Distractions fall away the moment you stop feeding them. Fulfillment evaporates as soon as the excitement wears off. Even your strongest emotions betray you eventually. The passion, the love, the ambition, they all transform or dissolve. This is where the truth becomes too loud to ignore. You're not scared of life. You're scared of what consciousness exposes when life gets quiet. Silence shows you the parts of yourself you've avoided, the unresolved regrets, the fears you never addressed, the loneliness you tried to cover with noise, the disappointment you buried under routine, the truth that you've been carrying pain for years without admitting it. None of this requires depression. It's simply what happens when consciousness becomes too honest. The hardest realization comes near the end of this descent. Your thoughts control you far more than you control them. You react to memories, assumptions, and fears automatically. You avoid situations that trigger old wounds without even noticing. You build your life around your insecurities and then call it preference. Your mind makes choices before you consciously decide anything. The thing guiding your life is not you. It's the psychological system inside you that evolved for survival, not logic. And once you understand that, you feel a kind of defeat that doesn't look dramatic from the outside but changes everything internally. You see how fragile your emotional stability truly is. You see how quickly one thought can ruin your entire day. You see how a single memory can drain all your motivation. You see how easily your confidence collapses under the weight of a single doubt. Humans weren't built for this much mental activity. Your brain wasn't designed to decode existence. Your emotions weren't designed to carry existential weight. You weren't built to interpret the meaning of life, just to survive it long enough to reproduce. Consciousness didn't upgrade you, it overloaded you. And now you're stuck with a mind that can't stop dissecting things your biology can't handle. This is the final truth. You're not suffering because you're weak. You're suffering because you're conscious. And consciousness comes with a burden no living creature should have been forced to carry. You survived the descent, not because you found answers, but because you faced truths most people suppress their entire lives. You saw how fragile existence is. You saw how unpredictable the mind is. You saw how temporary everything around you is. You saw how little control you actually have, and the darkest part is you can't unsee any of it. If you made it this far, you already know this isn't just another video you scroll past. Something in you connected with this. Something in you felt the weight of these truths. So before you go back into the noise of your world, do one thing. Say something in the comments, anything. Your thoughts, your reaction, even a single word. Let the others see they're not the only ones who felt this. And if this hit you, subscribe, not for motivation or positivity, but because you're one of the few who can handle the kind of honesty most people avoid their entire lives. You're not here for comfort. You're here because the truth cuts deeper than the lie. There's another video appearing on your screen right now, the one that explains why you were born to die and how everything in between is just distraction. If this one opened your eyes, that one will finish the job. Watch it and you'll understand the part of life most people never face. More is coming, darker, sharper, realer. Stay awake, stay aware.